What's up, Facebook Live? What's up, Instagram Live? Nice to see you all. Hopefully, you are having an amazing morning, evening, afternoon, wherever in the world you're tuning in from. As you are tuning in, I would love to know, number one, where you're tuning in from. Number two, love to know three things you're grateful for out there in the digital world today. Today's topic, what is up from Munich, Germany? Welcome. Today's topic, we're on day number 93, I believe, of our 100-day personal performance and business growth challenge. Hello from Ireland. Today's topic, I think, is so important. And good night from Amsterdam. Hello from Los Angeles. I want to pre-frame this topic, and I really want... this is so important. What's up, Dallas? Nice to see you. Azusa, California. Welcome. London in the house. Nice to see you. I want to pre-frame this topic. Sunny Scotland. All right. I want to pre-frame this topic because I think it's so important, and I want to make sure Brazil in the house, France in the house. Nice to see you all. I want to make sure you understand in no way, shape, or form is this topic a criticism of any way. It's simply an observation of something I've noticed recently, and I'd like to almost have a conversation about it, more so than teach this or preach this in any way. But I think it's so important in this moment of history because I've noticed there's so, and so let's start off. Day number 93, I believe we're on, and today's topic is 10 things I've noticed that women tend to undervalue about themselves. 10 things I've noticed that women tend to undervalue about themselves. Meaning, in society at this point in history, and not all women, but many women, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, you know, if I'm totally off on a left-hand turn, tell me. But the number one thing based on society that's telling us who we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to live our lives and what we're doing wrong and what's wrong with us, and they do just, I think, horrible things without realizing. Most of us don't realize it. I remember I was traveling in I think it was in Ecuador, and I looked up at the billboard, and as I noticed on the billboard, I noticed a really beautiful couple. And I looked at them, I'm like, they don't look like they're from here. And I hit our friend we were with, and I said, hey, are those people, the models that are being used on that board, are they from here? Like, are they Ecuadorian? And she looked and she was like, no, they're probably either maybe Colombian or Brazilian. Like, they're not from Ecuador. And I said, what do you mean? And I looked around, and what I noticed was the bone structure of the faces on that billboard were similar to people who lived in Ecuador, but not the same. Like, people here didn't look like that. And then one of my good friends, I worked with her a long time ago. She was a client of mine and a friend of mine. She's a model. She grew up in Michigan, lives in New York City. And I remember a long time ago, she's like, oh, I have a catalog shoot today. And I said, really? What kind of catalog? And she says, oh, I'm modeling clothes for a German catalog. Like, a German catalog? Why don't they use German models in a German catalog? And she says, I don't know. You know, I get hired all the time because I have, brown hair. I look kind of German, but different. And so they use me in the catalogs all the time for Germany. Like, interesting. And then I started looking around at the models they use here in the U.S. And I was like, most of them are from other countries that are similar but different. And what I started to notice is, as a society, we purposefully use marketing in a way that causes people to aspire to be like something that is physiologically not possible to be like. People from here don't look like people from there. We're different. We're all humans, but we have, different bone structures. We have different tones and shapes and sizes and all kinds of stuff. And where this came true even more, I remember I was in Fiji. I grew up going there when I was little. And over the years, generally, the Fijian women were strong, like Samoan type Fijian women. They were big, powerful women. And I remember going there, and it was always like the men were skinny because they'd be in the fields, working, and the women were big and strong because they'd have to put a bunch of stuff on them and walk with it and carry it places. And then I remember probably when I was maybe 20, 23 years old, all of a sudden I looked around and noticed the generation of women, their body shape completely changed. Like they went from big, powerful women to like skinny women. And I remember going, what the heck happened? Like, I don't think women's bodies change that much in one generation of women. Like, that's strange. What happened? And what happened was someone came and introduced television and magazines, specifically beauty magazines, to the Fijian Islands. And all of a sudden, the young girls started going, oh my gosh, that's what I'm supposed to be like. That's what I'm supposed to do. And so they started conforming and doing what they saw in the magazines, which changed their diet, changed their nutrition, changed their workout habits, changed all these things, and it reshaped an entire generation of women. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's insane. And so this is not a criticism in any way. It's an observation of the fact that society, the billboards, the advertisements, the televisions, the magazines, all this stuff is shaping the things we value or don't value about ourselves. The number one thing I think that many women nowadays, specifically and mostly probably in the US, UK, Australia, Canada, these places, it's not as much in other countries like Central and South America, or if I go to Costa Rica, they certainly have a different set of values there. We were just in Spain, they have a totally different set of values there. And but in the US, Canada, Australia, UK, the number one thing I think that women underestimate in the modern day age is they underestimate the fact that the species up until recently cannot continue without you. Period. Like, that blows my mind. I talk to clients all the time, and some of my clients, they work together, husband and wife in a relationship. And, oftentimes during the process of working together, they'll get pregnant. And as they're pregnant, I'll hear stuff like, 4, 5, 6 months pregnant, and she'll say something like, okay, well, I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to get all this stuff done at the office, and then I'm going to run home, and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to make sure I get my workout in, and then I'm going to eat healthy, and then I'm going to, make sure that we're both fed, and then I'm going to do this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. Do you think that's enough? And I'm like, dude, you're 3D printing a human in your belly right now. Do I think it's enough? If all you did was 3D print the human, you've done way more than enough for the day. And for some reason, I think many women undervalue the fact that 3D printing a human in your belly, creating life, is not the most spectacular, incredible, amazing, wonderful thing on the planet. Like, let's just start there. Regardless if you did anything all day, if you are 3D printing a human and not valuing that and realizing that is the coolest thing on earth, man, just like, guys can't do that. I overworked myself pregnant and got postpartum as a result. This happens. And this is why I'm saying I think the first thing that women tend to undervalue about themselves is the fact that you can 3D print a human. And you think you have to do something more than that. Now, I realize there's circumstance. There's some times where it's like, shit, if I don't have a job, then we're not going to eat. I get it. At the same time, it's still undervalued. The fact that you're 3D printing a human. Like in Costa Rica, it's totally different. If there's a pregnant woman in Costa Rica and there is like Mom, dad, uncle, grandpa, grandpa are like random people in line. And then there's like an 87-year-old grandma in line. And all of a sudden the pregnant woman comes up with her basket or cart. Everyone in line goes, oh my goodness. And they all move out of the way and go, here, 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 come on through, come on through. And they nudge the pregnant woman to the front and take care of her. I was like, wow, that's totally different. That is not how it goes down at Whole Foods in Miami Beach. Pregnant lady, wait your turn. You're just like the rest of us. And it was just beautiful to see how much they value this in other countries. And it's something that we don't value here in the United States and in many other countries as well. So number one, the ability to 3D print a human. Number two, the ability to shape the future of humanity by raising and molding the future of humanity. So if we were to stop right here and say, as a mother, the most important job in the world that I believe to be true is shaping the future of humanity. There is no business job, no company job, no CEO title, no C-level executive, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing close that comes to shaping the future of humanity. Now, why do I say that? I remember I was in University of San Diego. My little cousin is 2 years younger than me, so I was a senior, she was a sophomore. And I remember going to her dorm room to hang out with her, and she had a bunch of friends over. They were getting ready for something, and I was making a vegetable juice or something, just hanging out with them. And as we were talking, I remember I asked this to the room. They're sophomores in university and college. And I said, ladies, can anyone finish this sentence? And I said, first thing that comes to your mind, just the first thing that pops in your mind, say it out loud, all at once. What do you think? And I just said, never depend on A. And every woman in the room said, man. I went, whoa, that was intense. I was like, do y'all get together and train on this? Like, who taught you this? Where did you learn this? Is there like a girls' meeting once a week when you're real little and they like train you? Never depend on a man, never depend on a man. Like, do they train this stuff into you? Like, how did you all know it at the same time without thinking at all? Like, it just bingo. And I said, here's something crazy. Let me ask this. If there was a woman in this room right now who was the top of her class, straight A student, magna cum laude, she was the best student here, wise, she was intelligent, she was, learning and she was leading in all the elements going on here. If there was a young woman in this room and she said her number one goal would be to graduate university, best in her class, top of her class. And she said her number one goal would be to find a wonderful husband, to become an incredible mother, to take care of the home, to have, 3-4 babies, to raise those young future leaders of the world. And she said that's her number one goal upon graduation. Are you guys cool with that? And I said, what would you tell her if you're in this room? Would you be like, good job, congratulations, oh my gosh, how powerful, go do it, yes. And I just said, what would you tell her? And she says, you know what I would say? I'd say she should drop out right now if that's all she's going to do with her life and just move out of the way so someone who's actually going to use her degree could stay in here and get a degree. And I remember being like, oh, that hurts my heart. And I went back to the same conversation. If someone literally graduates top of their class and decides that they want to create human life and shape the future of humanity by raising global and community world leaders through their children, kind of like, I think it was John F. Kennedy's mother, they interviewed her and says, what was your mission? And she goes, my mission is to create future world leaders by raising my children. And I remember hearing that and going, wow, what a powerful mission statement. And she certainly did. She created world leaders as her children. She shaped them, she sculpted them, she molded them, and she loved them and cared for them and guided them along their journey. It's very powerful. And I remember hearing that from these young women and just thinking, That's amazing how undervalued shaping the future of humanity is versus graduating and starting a business or becoming an executive or working your way up the corporate ladder. All these things are valued so much, and so little is said about how important it is to shape humanity through raising the future, humans. I just think that's something that's naturally undervalued right now for some reason. Not by everyone, but by a lot of people. 3, how nourishing your love and kindness is. I have a lot of men in my life who are incredibly loving as a man, but there's nothing like a mother's love. My mom passed away probably a little over a month ago, and there was nothing like, having your mom call you and just love on you a little and tell you what's good or what she's proud of or how things are going. I believe educated women do change the world. I just saw the little message there. Educate women and you change the world. Absolutely. I believe that. And so, the concept of, I think it's undervalued, of how nourishing and powerful your love and kindness is when you share it, not only with, others, but when you share it with yourself. I think often I've noticed women be so critical upon themselves. Like, you look at yourself and go, ugh. And instead of looking at yourself and sharing that love and kindness with yourself, noticing what's beautiful about you, not in a conceited way or an egotistical way, but just noticing the beauty of your soul, your spirit, who you are, and taking time to do that each day. Number 4, I think a lot of women nowadays tend to undervalue how powerful you are. How powerful you are. You have the ability. I remember we were in India recently, and we were touring a Sikh temple, a religious temple. And as we were going through all the leaders of the Sikh group over time, it was like, guy on a horse, guy with a spear, guy with a giant sword. And then we got to this one, and I was like, whoa, who's that? And it was this babe of a woman on a horse with a giant sword leading the whole army in the battle. And I was like, whoa. And then I got to the next one. It was the same thing. And I got the next one. It was the same thing. I was like, wow, who are these babes? Like, they're killing it. Who are these generals, these leaders, these queens or kings? And, and I just stood there. I was like, holy moly. Now, and they were saying, oh, these were some of the most powerful war leaders of our culture, of our religion, of our group. I was like, no way. That's incredible. And I was thinking about it, and I said, how powerful women are. Not only are they able to, let's just say in that day, lead the charge from the front of the army to go take on, a neighboring army, but they have the ability in the same day, if necessary, to go back and nourish a brand new life. And I remember thinking, wow. Not only do they have the ability to lead war, they have the ability in the same exact day to nourish a new life. Now we're thinking, wow, I think women tend to undervalue how powerful they are. The ability to do both in the same day is amazing. Amazing. Number 6. Number 5. I'm sorry, I skipped number 5. Number 5. The ability to even have diffused awareness. Now, if you're not familiar with the concept of diffused awareness, it's something I learned about that it kind of blew my mind because I didn't even know this existed. As a masculine man, a feminine man might have diffused awareness. A masculine woman might not have diffused awareness, but a feminine woman has diffused awareness, and feminine energy tends to have diffused awareness, and so it can be in a man or a woman in this case, but a feminine woman who has diffused awareness. What is diffused awareness? To a man, diffused awareness is thinking about multiple things at once. In actuality, that is not diffused awareness. Diffusion, to go all directions all at once, diffused awareness is actually the ability to think of everything all the time, all at once. That blows my mind. Like, my brain doesn't work that well. I wish my brain was that capable, because, my wife can be sitting down on the table and we're talking, and she's, thinking about the thing that's on the stove and the thing that we're working on, what we're having a conversation about, what we did last week, the fact that a friend's on their way over. Like, she's thinking about everything all at once. If, she lets me do something, I'm so freaking focused on one thing at a time, I'll forget something else is happening because I'm just right here, right now. And she's like, what about that? And I was like, my brain, literally, the gears were like, because my brain doesn't do multiple topics at the same time. If we're going to open a new door, we got to shut the door we're in. We got to open the new door. And is the brain capable of it? It is. It's just definitely not built into my nervous system to do that naturally. And for some reason, feminine women that I've connected with and gotten to know and in relationship with and family, you're able to do this naturally. Like, y'all didn't need practice to figure this one out. I can try to get there with a lot of practice. Y'all do this naturally, and I think that's something that's undervalued within women. I think it's something that they're like, I wish I could just focus. And you're like, are you kidding? You can think of everything all at once. That's incredible. My brain breaks after like 3 topics. My brain's like, steam out my ears. Like, it doesn't work. It's crazy. Maybe after like 2 or 3 days of meditation, I might be able to get like 4 or 5 topics at the same time, but I can only sustain that amount of pressure for a couple hours and then my head falls off. We're ladies, it's so strange. You can manage 5 kids at once. Exactly. It's incredible. It's kind of a built-in mechanism that I think is undervalued. It's incredible. I mean, the ability to be connecting with someone, managing kid 2, 3, and 4, making sure kid 5's not burning the house down, constantly surveying the perimeter for anything that might be coming or, to attack or harm a child. Like, y'all can do it. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I've got 5 kids, so naturally built in, Deborah, like, you got this. Let's see. Number 6. This is something I learned from my wife. My wife, if I could say, transformed so many important relationships in my life. Meaning, I watched and observed how good she is at relationships, friendships, caring about other people. And I care about other humans. I was just not as good at relationships as she is. And I remember sitting there watching thinking, damn, are all women this good at relationships? And I gotta be honest, not all of them are. But I think the ones who are great at relationships don't realize how valuable that is. According to Harvard University, the relationships you keep, the friendships you keep, determine how long you live, how happy you are, and how much money you make in your lifetime. And so the ability to cultivate relationships, I think, is something that's radically undervalued by women. It's just kind of a funky thing that happens there. And so I value that, and I admire it. And I've noticed a lot of people don't value that. They're like, yeah, big deal. I can make friends. And I'm like, do you realize how important that is? That determines how long you live, how happy you are, and how much money you make. That's amazing. And I know a lot of guys who suck at that. I know a couple women who could use some help in this category, but I know a lot of guys who oh my goodness, they have trouble making friends. Try putting 2 guys together who've never met each other. It's like, so you do baseball, huh? They're like, yep. Like, we're not good at that. But women are powerful at that. Really good. Number 7, I asked my wife this, and she told me this one. Number 7, I think women tend to undervalue how much you do every day. I think women do so much every day. And a lot of the stuff that's undervalued are all the little things you do, the little tiny stuff you do in between all the other big things you're trying to do. meaning you're trying to raise the future of humanity and run up another business and do something else and do something else and do something else. And in between all the things you did, you fed 5 kids and did this and did that and combed your hair and looked good and did this and did that and did all these things. And I'm like, holy hell, you got so much done today. And my wife is like, no, I feel like I'm just so behind on my projects. And I'm like, oh my gosh, do you realize how much you get done? Can we all just agree to tell women how great they are more often? I hope so. And I hope after watching this, all the guys realize how amazing, if you have a woman in your life, how amazing she really is. I hope women who are watching this realize just a little bit more how amazing you are. Like I said, this is not criticism. I'm just trying to go down the list real quick so you realize how freaking incredibly powerful, amazing you really are. And I realize there's some bad eggs. I realize there's some turds out there who need to get kicked in the butt. But for the most part, it's really incredible. And these things are undervalued. Number 8, I think women tend to undervalue what it is to ask for help. Asking for help. I've noticed if a guy's doing something and he needs help, he'll be like, hey, you, here, come help me real quick. Like, we do not undervalue asking for help. We will call it out and have someone come and do it. Now, if you do it wrong, we'll also say, get out of here, never mind. We're not very patient with that. But I've noticed a lot of women, especially business women who are professionals and executives trying to accomplish and achieve, they tend to put everything on their plate and not really value asking anyone else for help. It's seen almost as a weakness. Therefore, they don't dare ask anyone for help. So instead, they just try to prove that they're capable by putting more and more and more on their plate to show themselves and everyone else that they can do it. And in reality, I think it's powerful to be able to ask for help and be able to say, hey, I put too much on my plate. I need someone to pass this off to. Let's go. Nothing wrong with that. Number 9, I think women right now at this moment of history, not always, but at this moment in history, I think they undervalue how powerful vulnerability is. The ability to open up and be vulnerable, to share what's real. I think men need more training on how to connect with and understand and listen and be present for a woman who's being vulnerable or a man who's being vulnerable. But I think underneath it all, the power of vulnerability is being undervalued. Because vulnerability, to speak your truth, to stand up and really truly share what's real, and to have someone to be able to hold space and listen is very powerful. Let's see. We all need to hear this today has brought a tear to my eye. Grew up with 4 brothers in an Italian household. Italian women are slaves usually and undervalued. Yeah, it happens many places all over the world. And I think it really starts underneath is having this kind of conversation. And number 10 on my list, I left it blank because there is no number 10. Y'all don't need to be told how to fucking do it better. Y'all don't need to be told that you need to do anything different than you're already doing. The purpose of this was not to point out something that's wrong, instead to call attention to how much y'all do that's amazing, that so often you don't take time to recognize or acknowledge or appreciate about yourself and each other. And so that's what today's little lesson is about. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you know someone who needs to hear it, share it with them. Pass this one on. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for day number 94 of our 100-day personal performance and business growth challenge.